guys, it's Jill again, and we're working on part 2 of the Butterfly Garden mini album, and the company that makes this paper is Pink Paisley, as well as all of the embellishments that I'm using. I'm throwing in some extra things that I have around my room, but I'll let you know when those aren't part of it. But mainly it's going to be flowers and die cuts and eyelets, things like that. So as you can see, I ran my covered chipboard, which again I covered on the back and the front, I ran it through my Vagabond, but of course you can use any machine. I want to give you some pointers here. This is how I set up the die. These are the holes. This is the actual ornamental die, and then these are the little spacers that now come with the Sizzix dies. They're just a piece of the matching foam with a magnet on them, and I like to use 2 because I have a lot of dies, so I have a lot of these little pieces of foam. And then with these, the one thing I want to show you is very important when you're using these dies. As you can see, there's a piece of paper caught in that hole. If you just leave that there and cut out the next and the next, you know, like that, just cutting your pages, it's actually going to cause this hole to just pop out. And your die's going to be uneven, it's not going to cut right, and eventually that little circle in there will break. So all I do is take a paper piercer and I pull it out. And it takes a few tries to get in there, especially on the last one, because you don't want to pull up the foam. So see, the foam is still in there and all those little pieces are out. So then you can go ahead and do the rest of your cuts. And when I line these up, I always do a trial cut with, like I said, a piece of paper or chipboard or something. And I did a trial cut so I knew that these were where I wanted them. And I just used my 2 Sizzix plates, and that's the sandwich, is just put that in between the 2 plates and run it through your Vagabond. If you have your Cut-A-Bug, use your B plates, but you don't need any extra shims or anything for these. Okay, so then the next thing I like to do is add any eyelets, because I find that once I start adding embellishments, it's hard to get the eyelets in, and you want to know to work around them. So I used some new eyelets this time. Susan just sent these to me, and they're Prim Sewing 40 Fashion eyelets. And I'm going to guess that these were picked up at, you know, one of the main stores, something like Michael's, Joann's, even Walmart. The neat thing about these, so I'm going to show you 2 different colored ones, hopefully. There we go. Well, that's not very different in color. Here's one. Okay, so I know this is nothing new to you guys, but I really like these because they're the smaller ones, and they have a top and a bottom, and they smush together like that. So your back and your front are both finished. And she sent me some silver ones too. So these are, I think, the 5/32, whatever inch, 4mm. So I'm definitely going to look for some more of these. And I went with pink. And the whole thing with this paper and this album, the feel to me, and I know we all get a different impression off of stuff, but this is very shabby chic to me, and that is where I'm going with this album. Okay, so I wanted to show you how I sprayed the pages. Really simple. Now, with the Perfect Pearl Mist from Ranger, I keep the top on, and if you look at the side, it actually says Shake Me Up. Shake it, stir it, do whatever you want, but mix it up, because this will not clog. Then I give 4 little sprays on the paper, maybe 5. And then I'll wipe up my craft mat, set the paper aside, because once I heat set it, it will dry into this craft mat or on it, which makes it harder to clean up. And then I just give it a heat set. And so it just adds some dimension to the paper. These are going to be the photo mats that I'm going to use. And this paper does curl, but as you saw, I go ahead and attach it with the glue stick, and all that curling goes away. And you could set it under a book or something if you wanted to. But that step is really simple. And I do any extra pages at this point because, like, I know I'm going to, where is it? I'm going to integrate a little coin envelope that I'm going to cover with the paper. So I sprayed that paper. I just want it all to be consistently gold. So I went through and did all that. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut these out with the small mover and shaper die. And this again is the ornamental. And as you can see, it is smaller. And I use my L base tray, which is really shiny, put it in there and just cut just these. Now you could use your mover and shaper die and fit it into it because it does fit in there. But I have the L base tray, so it works easier that way and you don't end up with any waste. And I'm going to do photo mats for when you open it. There's going to be a photo mat here and then decorations here and spots for journaling. So this is really, you know, just a 5-page book. Okay. Now the next thing that I'm doing is I'm going to go ahead and edge the pages themselves. I'm using two things. I'm using my acrylic paint dabber in Snow Cap and Distress Crackle paint. You could use one or the other, totally up to you. But I'm going to tap it, get the paint going, and the main part of this is, it's really runny, there we go, is I'm covering up some of that chipboard because I'm not going to want to put big globs of that on the edges of my item here. And then with this shape and with sometimes with other shapes, you get those little spots that don't really, the dabber doesn't fit down in. So go ahead and grab a paintbrush. I think I'm actually going to stir this because it is really juicy. Or something. Look how thick it is and all the juice is coming out. Okay, so let's give it a stir. Ew. And I always have these little craft sticks in my drawer. I think, you know, they're really cheap. And a lot of people use like the back of their paintbrush or whatever, but I don't like getting gunk on my paintbrush, so I picked up a few of these, and it's like a whole big package, and I shared them. Okay. So now I think we're getting a little better. There we go. We're getting some actual paint now instead of milky water. So I just cover each one like this. And I know you know in the past I have used paint dabbers to cover the edges too. And obviously these would work. Whatever color you want to go with. I had thought maybe gold, but then I decided again the shabby chic look. But I actually want a little bit of crackle to this. And so I'm going to do the two-step process. It's only 5 pages. It's not like it's going to take me very long. Okay, so see how I got in there? Now I'm going to use my crackle paint. And crackle comes with a brush, and it's really thick. And I want to give it a little stir because I know mine has been sitting for a while. And this, again, the white is Picket Fence. And I'm going to use the paintbrush that came with it. And I want to kind of unevenly add it. And you're not going to get a ton of crackle, but it'll be just enough. And I'll go thicker, thinner, make it all different in all different spots. So see how easy that is. So there we go. I'm going to go around and do that to all the pages and then let them dry. And that's when the crackle is going to actually start to show up. On the thinner spots, it's not going to show up as much. And when I say thinner, I mean where the paint is thinner. It's where your crackle paint is a little bit thicker. That crackle's going to show up. And I tend to set this on something like the crackle paint lid when it's back on, or some other ones that I have, and I'll set it on that so that it dries, but I'll do the other side first. And again, that creates a really nice extra element and get some, you know, into, make it look sloppy. So there's that. And the next step that I'm going to do with this is I'm going to decorate the pages. I've already started like laying out the cover, and I want to show you that process as well as using some of the embellishments and some things that you have around. Like I said, I'm using pretty much what I do is I just gather things from my stash, and if I think it's going to go with this, I put it near me, and I have like a little bucket of things that I just put near me. Now with the embellishments, they're pretty much laid out with this, but I am, like I said, adding some flowers, some, you know, pearls, lace. I got out some of the new little eyelets. I got some iron roses. This I'd like to integrate in with the butterfly charm, and these little items, some little rhinestone brads, you know, those kind of things, I think to me look shabby chic. So I'm going to add in some of those things. Oh, and some of my birdcage charms. Definitely want to add one of those in. So that's the fun of this, is the decorating part and making some of these pages interactive. So once this is dried, I'm going to start the decorating process and kind of walk you through how I decorate things, and you know what embellishments I use. So there you have it. Thanks for stopping by, and as always, have a great day.